Hello friends, and welcome to another edition of What I Eat in a Day Vegan. So we are starting off this day with a little bit of water in a small pan, and we're adding in a little touch of salt to this and then bringing it up to a boil. Any guesses on how basic this breakfast is? And then as soon as it reaches a boiling, we are going to be adding in a half of a cup of oats. And I'm so basic. These are just quick oats. I don't do that steel cut crap. It tastes like garbage. I'm sorry. I am that person. And then I'm just going to put that into a bowl. It literally takes like 3 minutes, makes me happy, super easy. Maybe not as healthy as other oats, but you know what? We're happy and satisfied, and that's what matters. So once we've got the oats in a bowl, we're gonna, of course, top that baby off. And I'm putting in a little bit of cashew milk just because it's what I had on hand. Not gonna lie, cashew milk is not my favorite. About a tablespoon, maybe a little more of chunky peanut butter, some walnuts, and then I top the entire thing off with a little bit of pure maple syrup. And actually, this was really delicious. I put some water on the side of this. Obviously, you guys know I'm a big fan of hydrating before you caffeinate. So we're having a big old thing of water and then a coffee on the side that, of course, I put some milk in, soy milk. Actually, I think I did cashew milk because that was all we had that day. And a little bit of peppermint syrup, actually, in my coffee. And then I just sat and enjoyed that. And I couldn't even finish this, you guys. It was actually so filling because of the nuts. I could not. So then we move into lunch, which I actually have lunch around dinner time because I eat so late in the day. I don't really eat until like noon to 2 p.m. usually, even though I'm up earlier. That's just when my body gets hungry. So we're starting out with some shredded carrots, 3 to 4 stalks of chopped celery, and a whole onion. Basically, we're making like a Mary-pois, which is basically just like a base for this soup that is kind of like a thinner knockoff vegan version of Olive Garden's chicken and gnocchi soup, except there's no chicken in it and it's not nearly as thick, but same concept. So basically we make in a soup, and I'm going to start by putting the onions in a pan on like medium high heat in a little bit of olive oil, and just caramelizing those up for just a couple of minutes. You can add salt here, but I actually didn't really add a lot of salt to this soup, and I end up having to salt it later. And then once we've got those in, we go ahead and add in the carrots and celery. And like I said, it's kind of like making a Mary-pois, except we're not going to sit and caramelize them for that long. Normally that takes like a half hour, and ain't nobody got time for that when you hungry and you got a man on his way home from work who's also hungry. Not that we don't have weird roles like that, but you know. And in between cooking, I decided to have a piece of bread with a little bit of vegan butter on it because I was so hungry by this point that I could not wait for dinner. I was like, if I have to wait 30 minutes for soup, I'm gonna die. Does any of you guys do that? You like have to have a little tiny snack in there. So then to that mixture, I'm adding just some Italian seasoning, about a tablespoon. By the way, there is no recipe for this, and it is a double batch. Sorry, I should have mentioned that off the bat. Mostly because that's just kind of how I cook. I don't really do recipes. Then I'm adding in some minced garlic. Use fresh if you can. It actually does taste a lot better. Sadly, we just have this and we're trying to use it up, so I wanted to put that in there. And then I'm using a little bit of this Better Than bouillon paste. You do not have to use this. This is a vegetable one, vegan, awesome, love it. You can use a vegetable stock instead, but this is what we had, so I'm using it up. Once you kind of stirred all of that in, you're going to add about 8 cups of water. Now, remember, this is a double batch, so you would do a little bit less if you were just making a singular batch for yourself. My husband and I like to eat this for a meal, and then we'll also have it for lunch the next day. And because it's not as thick as the Olive Garden one, you need like at least a couple of bowls to really feel satisfied. So I kind of like to make quite a bit. And actually we still have leftovers, and I think I'm going to get a bowl after I finish this video. So once you have brought that up to a boil, you're going to pop a lid on that and boil for about 15 to 20 minutes. You want the vegetables to be pretty tender because then you're going to add gnocchi into this. Just make sure there's no egg in the gnocchi if you're trying to keep this vegan, and you're just going to put that in. I did 2 packages again because double recipe. Try to break these up before you put them in. I actually found that that was a mistake, me just like plopping them all in there like that, because I had to break them up with a spoon while they were in there. And they cook so fast, so you need to move kind of quickly. They take like, I think 4 minutes to cook, which is awesome. That's why you also need to make sure the vegetables are pretty tender before you put these in, because the soup is like basically done at this point. So then you are going to add in a cup of your favorite non-dairy milk. I used cashew milk because it's what I had. I've heard the Ripple vegan half and half is really great for this too and might make it a little more creamy, but this was still good. I loved it. Loved the way it turned out. And then you're just going to stir that up. Once all of the gnocchi comes to the top, you know that the soup is pretty well done. You can even turn it off the heat here if you want to. And then I had a bunch of spring greens. Normally this recipe would just call for spinach, but girl, I had a whole thing of greens and they were starting to go bad. And I was like, nah, we're just going to put these in there. It's going to be fine. And it was super delicious. It did not change the recipe in my opinion, or like make me feel like it was gross because there was salad in my soup. But I just put like several handfuls. I even did more than you see here in there, and you just kind of let it wilt down. And then this is me trying to be super cute and serve this up for you. My husband also cut up a French loaf that we got from Walmart, which interestingly enough, as long as the bread doesn't have milk or eggs in it, a lot of breads are vegan. I don't know if you guys knew that. I think a lot of people are surprised how many things actually are vegan. And also, I'm kind of surprised too. Not anymore because I've been vegan for a couple of years, but I used to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is vegan, like accidentally vegan. But yeah, it's this French loaf that we really like from Walmart. So we're enjoying that with our soup as well. And I'm just bowling up a few bowls of soup for me and my mans to enjoy together. This is something that we actually really do strive to do. We try not to eat on the couch in front of the TV. We actually do try to have at least one meal a day together, because we don't normally have breakfast together because he's at work and I'm usually up later than him, at least lately. So I have been having my own like late dinner without him. So this is like my lunch and his dinner. And I did have to salt this quite a bit. I didn't put any salt in the recipe, and to me it really, really, really needed it. This also would have been really good with nutritional yeast on top if you guys have that. I had another bowl later that I put nooch on and it was so good. It reminded me of how like Olive Garden has all of that Parmesan, which obviously Parmesan is not vegan. So it reminded me a lot of that though, having like Parmesan on top of your soup, but it was completely vegan, cruelty-free, and delicious. So nutritional yeast is the way to go. And I'm just dunking some bread in there, and me and my husband are talking about our days, what we got accomplished, you know, our hopes, our dreams, etc. And you guys, I am addicted to sparkling water. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be addicted to, but mood. This is the Waterloo watermelon sparkling water. I had 3 cans after dinner. Three of them. Ridiculous. And then later that night when I got hungry again, I kind of intuitively eat. I only eat when I'm hungry for the most part. So I wait until my body tells me that I'm hungry to eat. And I just cooked up a couple of hash browns. And you guys are going to think this is so weird, but I actually topped them off with a little bit of maple syrup and kosher salt. And just don't knock it until you try it, okay? It's actually really good. And I could eat this right now, but we don't have any more hash browns. Bummer. Anyways, that is what I ate in a day, you guys. Thank you so very much for watching. I will see you again tomorrow for a future video. Check out the below bar for all the fun things. I will see you then. Bye.